So I'm gazing out the window looking at tree branches. This is Shannon Kringen Goddess KRING in Seattle, and I am wanting to update everyone. One of my family members has a loved one in the hospital, and that is an ongoing situation. And I am trying to organize my space. And I am sitting here. I might be taking a voice class at one of the local Seattle theaters where I took a bunch of acting classes. It's called Freehold Theater, and I might be taking a voice class there. And I'm just thinking about self-esteem and self-confidence and wanting to tame the shame and suck the sugar cane out of life. That's one of a line in one of my poems, tame the shame, suck the sugar cane, meaning enjoy your life. And I personally, like most people, I don't want to fail. Um, it's embarrassing when you do something and you fail at it. You're not as good as you hope you could be. But I also have shame about being successful. I have this fear of success. And I guess what that is low self-esteem, feeling guilty. Like in high school, I used to win tennis matches and then feel guilty that I won. There's a very loud drill sound outside my window. I hope that's not being picked up by the mic. It's really frustrating me, the sound that I'm hearing. I need to go for a walk out in nature, a brisk walk. But I just wanted to do a short monologue. I wanted to talk about my current desire to take a voice class, build my self esteem, build my self confidence, and deal with my feelings of shame. I'm an eccentric person, and when I try to connect with people, it doesn't always go as planned. But I'm really proud of the music that I've created with Dave Flowers from Interactive Jack Records. But I've always felt guilty and ashamed of my desire to be successful, my desire to be famous as an artist, my desire to be a famous performing artist, and what I mean by fame is not Hollywood, super duper famous, millionaire, billionaire, zillionaire, Hollywood, whatever. What I mean when I say fame is just somebody who creates something and is appreciated for doing it, whether it's 50 people or 100 people or 20 million people. It doesn't matter. It's about doing something well and being appreciated for it. So maybe I shouldn't say the word fame because it sounds kind of shallow or silly or vague or something. When you say fame, maybe people assume you mean on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine and that you live in Hollywood and you're super famous all around the world or something like that. So I'm thinking about my voice and wanting to use my voice literally as a public speaker, as an actor, as a musician. And we're going to book some live shows. We have one live show. I think it's going to be at the Central Saloon in Seattle, Goddess KRING in January 2025. I've got my Tom Petty button on. You can see back there, there's another Tom Petty right down there in the background. That is kind of my shamanic symbol. Tom Petty and Tori Amos are shamans to me in terms of being symbolic. And then I went out in nature the other day where I volunteer and I saw four snow leopards. And usually they're very shy and I haven't seen them much, but I looked up what the symbolism of snow leopard means, and it is inner strengths, solitude, resilience, following your instinct and your intuition. That's kind of the message I get from all the wild animals that I observe is to, you know, how humans, we seem to make things we human beings, we use a lot of technology and we invent things and we make things really complicated, which is kind of interesting and creative. But when I witness lions, tigers, bears, snow leopards, insects, snakes, squirrels, earthworms, rats, mice, all the different wild animals, coyotes that you see. They're very instinctual and they're very like eating and sleeping and in touch with the natural rhythm of nature and the circadian rhythms and all that jazz. And I am just inspired by nature and inspired by some of the best times I have are when I'm with myself, not when I'm lonely by myself and wishing I was with somebody else, but when I'm by myself and enjoying myself. I've had the best times of my life. When I am creating my art, when I am walking in nature, when I am daydreaming and thinking about things and writing poems. I think we're going to start working on a new song, something I'm going to use the word pivot in the song. I'm really excited to publish the new book, KringFlower, song, lyric, poetry book, the follow-up to my Kringonian Pizzazz poetry book. We're going to be performing live. Tommy, the drummer, Tommy Cook, our drummer, and Dave Flowers, our keyboard player, our sound engineer, mixer, DJ, technical guy, producer guy. We're kind of a three-piece band. We have not performed live yet, though, so I'm going to see how it goes, and we're going to hopefully book more shows. It's going to be a variety show. It isn't just going to be Goddess Kring. It's going to be me in costume singing the original songs that I created with Dave Flowers. And then Tommy Cook and Dave are also going to do, I think they're going to do cover songs and it's going to be at least three different things happening. And Goddess Kring will be part of the show. So we haven't done this yet. So I can't really say for sure how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to do it. And I might take a voice acting class at the Freehold Theater in January of 2025. I want to see how confident I can get. I've always been afraid of being too confident because I don't want to be arrogant. I don't like it when people are super duper self-confident to the point where they're arrogant. But I've always wanted to communicate and broadcast. And I guess I'm starting to have more self-compassion because both of my parents, my dad writes comedy and music, but not professionally, but he has for himself. And he partly wanted to do it professionally, but he hasn't really done that. And my mom is a visual artist, but she's a very private person. And neither one of my parents want necessarily to be famous, but I've always wanted to be famous. So my parents, I feel like I want to break free and do my own thing and not and let go of feeling ashamed of my ambition, ashamed of my desire to be in the spotlight, to and even if some people think I suck, like I've always wanted to communicate. And in school, I was very shy. I rarely raised my hand in high school. But then I was in a couple high school plays and I sang in the choir. And then I started my public access TV show in my 20s and I started art modeling. And I still am kind of shy and insecure in some ways, but I feel like I've always wanted to communicate with an audience or communicate into a microphone. And I've always wanted to do some form of performance, not just visual art. I remember being 10 years old and thinking, I want to sing, dance, act, paint, draw, take photos. I've always wanted to experiment and explore and be improvisational and travel. And I've done a lot of traveling. I've been to Europe several times, not recently. I've been to New York City a few times. I've been to Mexico and Australia and Austria and France and Italy and Spain and England and Scotland and Holland, Amsterdam. I loved it there. And I started writing in a diary when I was 13 years old because of Anne Frank, who wrote the Diary of Anne Frank. And I visited the hiding place in Amsterdam and I was fascinated. I went to Austria, Vienna, Austria to see the Hundertwasser house, my favorite painter, Hundertwasser. I've done that. I mean, I'm happy that I did that. I sent postcards every day for 6 months to the Tom Petty fan club in Encino, California in 1992. And his first wife, Jane, wrote me back a postcard saying, hope you can dig. Tom's real busy. I wanted to paint a top hat for Tom Petty, who widens my jetty, but that never happened. I never met him. May he rest in peace. And Tori Amos, I did make a connection with, and I painted her shoes. I gave them to her in person in Seattle in 1996, and she wore them on stage at the Paramount Theater. And then I gave her shoes also in 2005 in Belgium, Brussels. I saw her live and I was in Europe. And then I saw her in Paris, France in 2005 also. And then I gave her hand painted shoes again a third time in Seattle in 2014. And there's a selfie of her and I together. But honestly, when I was ever around Tori Amos, three times I've been around her in person, I was just very shy and I didn't really say a lot to her. And I wanted to make a connection with her, but I just kind of chickened out. So I was kind of shy. I'm still happy that I hand painted shoes for her and met her. Tori Amos and Tom Petty are very inspirational to me. So I'm just thinking again about how can I tap into my personal power, my Shannon Kringen power? How can I learn to tame the shame? What I mean by that is I some people say you can't really be afraid of success. You can only really be afraid of failure. Because people who are afraid of success, what they're really afraid of is that people will be jealous of them. Like if you're really successful, then people think you're too full of yourself, you don't deserve your success, or they think that you are some kind of egomaniac narcissist that's a jerk and you don't deserve to be successful. You know how they say it's lonely at the top. In other words, and also if you're really famous, do people really like you for you, or do they just like you because you're famous? So I imagine it would be isolating and strange to be so famous that you can't just walk down the street. I'm not sure if I want to be that famous. Not that I have any control over if that happens to me or not anyway, but I've always wanted to communicate and connect and be brave. I guess that's what it is. I've always wanted to create something and put it out in the spotlight. And, that is a very vulnerable thing to do because people will judge you as good or bad, or say you're ugly or pretty or talented or not talented, or you're, different. Everyone will judge you, and whether it's good or bad. And in being in the public eye, you get scrutinized. So really what a fear of failure is that you're embarrassed that you will suck and then people will laugh at you and make fun of you. Like when Tori Amos had her first album, Why Can't Tori Read? And it flopped because she listened to what the record label told her to do, and it wasn't really where her heart and soul was, and it wasn't her authentic self, and it did not do well. And then she had the courage to pick up the pieces and go back and write Little Earthquakes and 1992 and do her real authentic thing because they thought the girl and the piano thing wasn't going to work, but apparently it does work because her heart and soul was into it. So there's just one example. I'm also inspired by Ani DeFranco and Amanda Palmer. They're not my favorite musicians, those two, but I love and appreciate them. And I do appreciate the music of Amanda Palmer and Ani DeFranco. It's just not my favorite, but they both built their own careers with grassroots. Like I'm making copies of the KringFlower CD with 17 original tracks on it. A fan of mine wanted 20 copies to give to all of his friends, and I'm really happy and excited that I get to tomorrow meet with him for coffee and give him the 20 CDs that he wants, and he's going to share them with his friends. I'm really happy, and I'm also going to get 1 or 200 copies made of our CD KringFlower Goddess KRING, produced our own original music, my vocals and my words and lyrics, my poems basically turned into music with Dave Flowers, Superflower. But fear of success really is fear of people being jealous of you, fear of being judged for being successful, or people wanting to use you because you're famous, or people thinking that you don't deserve your success, or people, just all the different drawbacks to being a famous person. And it's true that I might never be as famous as I want to be, but I notice that I still desire to connect with people. I desire to share, like I shared my music with Pete Droge, who lives on Vashon Island. He's a wonderful songwriter that I admire, and I saw him at the Triple Door with Elaine Summers, his beautiful wife, who does mosaic art, and I admire and appreciate those two, Elaine Summers and Pete Droge. And I found out about him because he opened for Tom Petty in the 90s, and I've been following his music ever since. And I gave my CD and poetry book to Pete Droge and to Nancy Guppy, who does the Art Zone show here in Seattle. And I would love to be on that show someday, but I don't know if I ever will be. I'm just admitting this and saying it, maybe I'm not supposed to be saying these things like because I'm a bit on the autism spectrum. So I tend to say what I really think. I have to be careful not to say too many personal things, but I'd say what I really think. Like, I wish I could get on, it's amazing that I was interviewed for a book called Weird Washington. I am a hero in that book. Weird Washington was published many years ago. And I self-published my own book, Art, Identity, and the Sacred, which is an art book, and I sold about 30 copies of that. And then I have a poetry book, Kringonian Pizzazz. I'm going to follow it up with KringFlower, song lyric book, and we're making music. And so I'm just rambling. This is obviously a totally improvisational monologue I'm doing just at my current feelings here in December 2024. I want to build my skills as a performer, using my voice as a singer. I'm not a brilliant singer, but I am making the best use of my voice. People say that they like my voice when I do my spoken word and my singing with Dave Flowers at Interactive Jack Records. And I love recording studios. I love when I hear Tom Petty talk about how much he could be in the recording studio every single day. I totally understand. There's something magical, just like being in an art studio. It's magical to be around a bunch of visual art supplies and to make art. I took a class at Pratt Fine Arts Center in Seattle, and I fell in love with silk screening and printmaking and being with Dave in the recording studio with microphones and musical instruments. And we record one line at a time. I write poems with my ballpoint pen or type it into my laptop. And then there's just this magical feeling of taking something I scribbled with my ballpoint pen that rhymes into recording it line by line in the recording studio. And Dave usually makes a rhythm track. The way we work is Dave usually makes some kind of cool rhythm track. I sometimes help him pick the sounds, but he's really good at percussion. And we have live instruments as well as synthesizers that can make different sounds. He's a really amazing keyboard player, Dave Flowers, and he plays beautiful rhythms. And I riff with my voice off on the rhythm, and we record one line at a time. And then we play back what we just heard, and then we embellish it. And then he adds layers to it. So we have this really interesting way of sculpting with sound. I love doing that. And it reminds me of what Tori Amos has said about how she sculpts with sound. I'm not saying that I'm as amazing as Tori Amos. I would never say that I'm as amazing as Tom Petty or Tori Amos as a musician. But I know that I love creating songs with Dave. And I think we've created one of my favorite, some beautiful songs that are very unique. One of my favorite songs we've done lately is Outsmart the Gaslighters. Maybe I will read you the lyrics to that if I can find them. Outsmart the Gaslighters. Outsmart the Gaslighters. Videos. Let's see. Outsmart the Gaslighters. Let me try to find this. Outsmart the Gaslighters. If I can find it. No, I'm not finding it. Okay, just bear with me here. I'm looking for my Goddess Kring on Bandcamp to find my own lyrics to my own song because I don't have all my lyrics memorized, but I write them down. That's actually fun for me too. I'm listening to our original CD in my car. I'm calling it KringFlowers XL. If you would like a copy mailed to you in the snail mail, let me know. I'm mailing out a certain amount of copies to people as a gift. Outsmart Their Gaslighters by Shannon Kringen Goddess KRING. Enticed out to play, fear of feeling poked and prodded. Cultivate the strength of coyote, hummingbird, raccoon, spider. Not fitting into the slot. Nerves forcing the stoic strong. Nordic me, into the loud sonic boom room. Feeling the gloom doom. Ruined petal butterfly wings. Outsmart the gaslighters. Grabbing clouds, seeding lands. See an enemy set free. See an enemy set free. Seeding the bloom beyond the wound, seeding the bloom, the right to be wrong, the wrong to rewrite reality, strong yet fragile. In tangential angles, inertia disturbs the slanted words, or two slanted words. Need those extroverts with those introverts. Some think absurd, but I am herded into the pasture, off to the inner bride and groom, fully married to the self-actualized heat of me. Outsmart the gaslighters, grabbing clouds, seeding lands. See an enemy set free. See an enemy set free. Seeding the bloom beyond the wound, outsmart the gaslighters. And then it goes on from there. So that's one of my newer, excuse me, my nose itches. That's one of my newer songs that I wrote the lyrics to. And it is, that's me speaking it, but obviously it's also a beautiful, has a melody to it. And if you look up Goddess Kring Outsmart the Gaslighters, it's on Bandcamp right now. It's also on my YouTube channel, Shannon Kringen, which I'm uploading this video to. So I'm just excited about that. And I want to get over my fear of success, or there's that book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Like, I feel ashamed. Like, if you fail, it's embarrassing and people go, oh yeah, you suck or whatever. And if you succeed, it's also uncomfortable because some people think you don't deserve your success. And then other people think you're great. And maybe some people are overly like worshiping everything you do. And even if if you're super famous and you do something that's stupid, people might just still think it's cool because you're so famous. And so that's fake. So people can be fake. So the thing is, maybe it's true that maybe being famous is toxic. I think Bette Midler said it's neurotic to want to be famous. And Madonna has said similar things. Like, if you don't feel like you get enough attention as a child, you tend to want to be famous. And she acknowledged that part of her desire to be Madonna is partly based on her mother dying of cancer when she was young, and her having seven brothers and sisters and not feeling like she got enough attention, or, wanting to win the approval of others, or wanting to prove something, or wanting to have lots of people appreciate her and adore her, or something like that. So I relate to some of that. So yeah, part of the desire to be in the spotlight maybe is a form of insecurity. But then again, when I think about the Beatles and all the beautiful ripple effect that John Lennon and Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono, and I know Yoko Ono is not the Beatles, but John's partner, Yoko Ono. I follow Yoko Ono. She's a very positive, uplifting person. People who create a ripple effect, people who have the courage to be in the public eye because they want to communicate and express themselves and share. Actors are like that. Actors and musicians are like that. They have the courage. They want to move people. I think it was actor Ben Affleck who said that he doesn't like being famous. He's kind of shy in that way. He doesn't care about any of that, but he is compelled to be an actor and tell stories and move people. And so there's genuine heart and soul in that. It's not just this sort of, I want to be famous just because I want attention and people to look at me and think I'm cool or whatever, but this true heartfelt desire to move people, to inspire. That is actually, so it's not as shallow as it sounds. When I say I want to be famous, what I mean by that is I want to communicate and connect. I want to serve a purpose. That's partly why I'm so driven in my career as a pet sitter, dog walker, art model, and medical model standardized patient. Is I like earning a living, but I like feeling useful to other people. So when I think about my artwork, I want my artwork to be useful to other people. Like, my photos are published on Flickr, Creative Commons. I sometimes search and I find my photos because I offer them for free. If you go to my Flickr, Shannon Kringen Flickr, there's thousands, literally thousands of photos in different categories, and you could publish them for free. You just give me credit as photographer and it links back to my Flickr. And many of my photos have been useful to other people, and I'm very happy about that. And when I am an art model, people draw me and paint me, and then it's useful to them to observe me and make art. So I want to translate that to my music. If KringFlower music or Goddess Kring music if people like listening to it, I've sent my CD to several people and they say some of them listen to it in their car. And that makes me so happy that people appreciate Dave Flowers and I's music and listen to it in their car. And hopefully they sing along with it, just like I sing along to Tori Amos and Tom Petty when I drive around in my car. And Cutworms is another band that I love, Cutworms. And Beach House, Cutworms, Tori Amos, Tom Petty. Um, I like Beck. I like Bjork. I like a lot of PJ Harvey. I like a lot of different musicians. Edie Brickell. I love Edie Brickell's music. Um, so I sing along to other musicians, and the idea that people might sing along to my music or quote my poetry makes me very happy. So I would love for my poetry and music to be useful to other people, to be entertaining, to be inspiring. So that's what I mean. I want to expand my repertoire of creative expression. I like Art Chantry is a, let's see who Art Chantry is. Let's look him up because he recently friended me on one of the social media websites. Art Chantry. Yeah, Art Chantry. I'm going to look at him on Wikipedia here. Art Chantry is a graphic designer often associated with posters and album covers he has done for bands in the Pacific Northwest like Mudhoney, Mono Men, Soundgarden, and the Sonics. He recently said that my public access TV show got him through some dark times. So I am extremely happy about that. And I didn't know Art Chantry because I think of him as a famous, graphic designer, poster man here in Seattle. I'm happy to know that. I'm happy because part of me is very shy and insecure, and part of me has the audacity. And maybe I'm a bit on, okay, officially a bit on the autism spectrum, ADHD, dyslexic. I'm a little bit dyslexic. I'm a little ADHD. I'm a little OCD. I'm repetitive, as you can see in these monologues. I'm kind of all over the map. I need to organize my space behind me. See this apartment behind me. I need to organize my space. But I'm very creative. And I'm thrilled to know that Nancy Guppy knows about my TV show, the cast of Almost Live. It's a show that used to be on in Seattle. And Art Chantry, Pete Droge. I mean, all these people I admire. Jason Webley is a musician I really admire in Seattle. And he said I'm one of his bigger supporters because for the last 20 years, I have spread the word about Jason Webley's concerts and musics and the Up 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 Incorporated circus performers. I love them. It's inspired by them. I love to spread the word about other performers and artists that I admire. So I've always been interested in communicating and expressing. And, when I listen back to these monologues that I do, hey, Goddess Kring, Shannon Kringen, you're listening to your own monologue. I hope you're getting something out of this. Anybody listening to this, I hope you're getting something positive out of this. This is an improvisational monologue. It's a little bit, stream of consciousness all over the map, a little chaotic perhaps, but this is my creative way of riffing with the video camera and the microphone here. And I hope to learn to generate a really good ripple effect and to generate. I recently found pictures of my art car, Opal Moonstone. It's a Honda Fit that I glued rhinestones on in a very complicated, beautiful design that I made up and invented. And I am happy that I'm seeing pictures of my car. People are happy and they smile when they see my car and they say that's beautiful. I love that. And so I'm spreading positive happy energy with my art car. I mean, that makes me happy. And I used to always wear hand painted shoes. Lately I haven't been doing that. I hand paint shoes, but I've been mostly driving around in my art car. That's the way I spread the kring, as they say. I spread the positive creative energy of my art design and my face paint when I perform and ride my bicycle around in body paint with a bunch of other bicyclists. I ride in the summer solstice parade sometimes, not always, and the body pride ride with all the other fun people in body paint and face paint as Goddess Kring, a body positive person that I am. I'm a figure model, meaning I pose for people not wearing anything and they draw and paint from the figure. We've been doing that for thousands of years as humans, drawing and painting from the natural human figure, male and female, and all gender, I should say, all gender of humans can be painted and drawn. and turned into art. And you can also wear, sometimes I wear bodysuits or costumes, leotards, etc. So that's just one thing I do is the modeling. So there's the music, the poetry, the modeling, the visual art. I guess I do lots of different things. It might be good if I would focus more. I guess when I talk into the microphone, I still want to make a documentary. So I'm saying that I can talk about all my different forms of art, visual and performing, when I talk into the mic. Part of my art, I think, is doing these monologues. Improv monologues is part of my creative expression. So thank you for listening. This is Shannon Kringen Goddess KRING. You can find my music um, by looking up Interactive Jack Records Seattle, KringFlower, Goddess KRING Music. It's streaming on most of the platforms. There's my poetry book, Kringonian Pizzazz. I want to make a documentary film, the Goddess KRING documentary film about public access television. Maybe I can interview people like Art Chantry and Nancy Guppy and Matt Smith, who teaches improv at Freehold Theater. He was one of the Almost Live cast members. Maybe I could interview all these people. I don't know if they would want to be interviewed or not for my film. Maybe I could just, instead of doing a regular documentary film, maybe I can start off because I don't know if it's my friends and I are going to make this film. I'm also friends with the Fantasy Egg It's a Mattress people. I know them and I've worked with them a little bit on a public service announcement at the Beacon Theater here in Seattle. And they said they'd like to work with me again. They're raising money now for a new project they're doing called Crystal Ball. That's another film, the follow-up film to Fantasia Gets a Mattress. It's Crystal Ball, and they're raising money for that. I might want to see if I can join in with them and help them raise money for their project by being Goddess KRING. I think I'll pitch that idea to them. They may or may not be interested. See, I might fail. I'm going to try. I'm going to pitch that idea to them and see if they like it. If not, that's fine. At least I tried. Um, but I don't know if it's my friends and I that are going to make a documentary film, or am I going to need to find an independent filmmaker? If you know an independent filmmaker who wants a project, who's professional and will follow through on this, because I have a small budget for it, I think, a grassroots kind of budget for it. I might want to work with an actual real filmmaker. I'm learning my video editing skills, and I'm a very talented person. I'm a good photographer and a cinematographer and a videographer, but I also know that it's hard to write, direct, star, produce, do the whole thing. I mean, my public access show I did by myself. So maybe the documentary should be done mostly by me. Maybe that would be unique to do a documentary mostly by myself. Maybe that would be the way I should do the Goddess KRING. But I was thinking of an offshoot to the Goddess KRING documentary film would be me interviewing people and putting it on my YouTube channel. So me interviewing interesting artistic people who know about my public access show, and then we can talk a little bit about that. And then, like a podcast style video, I could also ask them about their creativity and maybe do some kind of podcast that's about like a weekly interview show where I interview people, they interview me about my stuff, and then I ask them a few questions about their creative work and we share about it. And that's sort of an offshoot or maybe a springboard to doing a full-length documentary film about me, Goddess KRING, who is an art model and an artist and a poet who's on the autism spectrum. I have synesthesia. When I hear music, I see shapes in my head. I think of music as visual. I associate all of the senses, the taste, touch, smell, visual, audio. It's all connected to me in my mind. So synesthesia is an interesting topic. So, okay, there it is. So that's all for now. So I'm going to take a walk now and I'll see you later. Thanks for listening to my monologue for December 19th, 2024. Music, poetry, the Goddess KRING movie. I want to start making music videos. I need to find people to help me make music videos of our original KringFlower songs. I need to have somebody film me in my art car driving around Seattle. Yeah, I want to make a music video we have at least 17 songs now. I want to start with one step, start with one music video of KringFlower's original music. Maybe that's what it is. I need to focus like one step at a time. Okay, I published my poetry book. Now I want to publish a music video. This is the monologue. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to clean my apartment. My friend's son is going to play the trombone in a holiday concert, and I might film that. I might put that on this YouTube channel. So I love to share artistic, creative, inspirational content. Here I am. So that's me in a nutshell for now. Have a good day. I hope I inspired you to do something creative. If you want to sing or dance or act or do visual art or knit or sew or crochet or sing opera or play a sport, take a dance class, go scuba diving, whatever it is. Follow your bliss. So that's my message. Okay, bye for now. This is Shannon Kringen Goddess KRING in Seattle. Thank you, everybody. I also gave Miranda July. I admire Miranda July. I gave her my poetry book in person. I bought her book on all fours, and I gave her my poetry book. I wish I'd given her my music CD, but it wasn't ready yet. But Miranda July, I did the big Miss Moviola project way back in the 90s. I submitted a video to her project. So Miranda July, and I also met Anna Voog, who also met Tori Amos, who did a video thing on that. Anna Voog and I are connected as well. These are just some of the people that inspire me. Anna Voog, Miranda July, Tori Amos, Tom Petty, Pete Droge, Jason Webley, Rafe Perlman, Gina Salah, Nancy Guppy, all these really cool people in Seattle, and anybody who appreciates Mark Osler. I illustrated three. I did a picture of Tom Petty. I did a picture of a female form, and I did an illustration. I did three illustrations that were published in Mark Osler comic books. I'm happy about that. A drawing I did of Tom Petty in a cartoony style that I like to do. A woman's torso with a heart shape, and a abstract volcano in the Kring style. So I'm happy about that. Visual art being published and produced. I would love to have an art show. I know that at Larry Reed at Fantagraphics has art on display. Maybe I could pitch that idea that there could be a Goddess Kring visual art show at Fantagraphics, but I need to get some like art together and show him and see if that's viable. And I might fail. Like if I pitch these ideas to these people, it might fail. Maybe I should start showing my visual art again at Art Not Terminal, which is a non-juried gallery where you just pay to show your art. It could be that I'm a fringe alternative person that needs to just keep self-producing. Maybe I'll never be like mainstream enough to be commercially successful in that way, but I don't really care. I want to just be my authentic self and produce videos and books and music and visual art and poetry, just all that stuff. That's what I'm doing. There it is. Okay. And I hope I inspire other people as well. But I also need to focus on my own creativity and my own talent and make the best of my ability, because part of me thinks I have to prove I'm a good person by inspiring other people. But I do. I like the idea of having a good effect on other people. But I guess all I can do is just do my art and share it and talk about it. Like part of me thinks I shouldn't even tell you all the stuff I'm telling you on this video, but I feel compelled to communicate into the camera in this way. So I guess that's what I do is I don't just do my art and share my art. I also talk about the process of making my art. Maybe that's more like what a teacher does. So I feel compelled to make the art and then tell you about the behind the scenes process a little bit of the art. I guess that's part of my creative expression is to document. Like maybe my life already is like a documentary film. Like I already document, I write in a blog online. I make these videos, I take photos, I go, look, everybody, I did this event. Look, everybody, I did that. Look, everybody, I'm visiting a loved one at the hospital. Look, everybody, I'm documenting what it is to be a human on planet Earth. That's part of what I do, I guess. Both my parents are way more private than me, way more not wanting to be in the spotlight than me. And yet my mom and dad are both very artistically talented and very sensitive. My mom reads Eastern philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, Krishnamurti, and she is a very unique clay and metal vessel designer. She has very unique artwork and she's done unique jewelry, one of a kind, super well done handmade jewelry that's very high end and very her own unique style. But she's very private and doesn't want me to promote her. My mom does not want me to say her website or her name. She doesn't want me to, so I won't. So that's private. But my mom is very creative and gifted as an artist. And my dad writes comedy and music and folk music, and he's recorded himself singing, and he's done that, but he's never really wanted to fully get in the spotlight. But I do. I want to make these videos and do this kind of stuff. So that's my authentic me. And so I respect my parents for wanting to be more private than me. But I want to be more public. So this is my style of doing it. So yeah, I'm 56 years old and I'm a creative person that's experimenting with poetry, music, photography, painting, my art car, video monologues, acting, singing, creating music. These are all the things I'm doing right now. And I'm still art modeling and I act out with medical students. I pretend to be a patient. I'm a standardized patient. I'm literally handed a script and I act, professionally act in that way. These are all the things that I love to do. So, okay, there it is. That's all the jazz that I'm going to share for today. Enjoy yourself. Have a good day. Thanks for being here. Bye for now. Thanks for subscribing and liking this video. And please share my videos with anybody who you think might like it. And if you want a CD of KringFlower music, let me know. And I could probably mail you one in the snail mail. Or you can stream our music for free on most of the platforms. KringFlower Goddess KRING Music. Bye for now.